Hello guys, welcome back to the next tutorial in the series. Today we're going to discuss about page object model. So let's talk about what these are. Uh, Page object models are really very useful in making our project maintainable. One of the very biggest issues, like when we are going through the project, our code becomes really less maintainable. And why it happens? Because we have a lot of duplicate code. So let's see. Let's if we have our expedia.com, right? So if we have the expedia.com and we have so many pages, right? In a lot of my test cases, if I need to find this text box, I'll find this element every time and I'll use it, right? So what happens is a lot of duplicate code. So for that reason, what we need to do is we need to avoid that code and make our code less duplicate and more maintainable. When we use page object models, the kind of approach we follow is we treat every page as an object, and then every page class will create a class for it, and every page class will have static methods to return all the elements within that page. So like this flights tab is an element, the text box is an element, like this every element is an element, right? So we need methods for every element that returns a web element type, and then we can use it. Then we can actually create more APIs to perform actions on those elements also, and that also goes in that class, or you can have a different class also. So that makes our code really very easy to read. Also it makes it very easy to understand. So when we write the actual test code, we just call those methods and pass the values. So that's something we're gonna discuss today. What and how we need to do is now is I've created some prototype for you guys. So let's discuss and let's see what that is. So the first thing that we need to do is I've created a different uh, package and named it page.classes to make it more modular and kind of isolate the not isolate but segregate the page classes from all the test code. So this package, I've created a class search page. Basically I'm calling the home page as the search page. So I've created the class called search page, it's here, and then this is our test code page object model, in which we have our usual stuff: WebDriver, base URL, and those Firefox instance, Expedia.com URL, maximizing and wait time. So let's go through and let's create methods right now. So this is our page class, and we have created a web element, initialized it with null, and I have all these comments for all the different methods that we're gonna create. So we're making it easy to understand. You guys can read the comments and understand what's happening. So all these things we're gonna find. So what we need one by one is exactly all the elements that we're gonna work in this tutorial. So let's start with the origin text box. I've got the IDs of all the text box guys, so we're not gonna look every time on the expedia.com. So it's gonna be public static web element, because we're gonna return an element out of this method. So let's name it origin text box, and every method will have a argument called WebDriver. So we need a driver to pass in here in this method, so it knows okay what element it's calling and what to do exactly. So now what to do? We already have an element defined. Just use this element and then driver. Same thing that we were doing in our test code, we will do all those things here. So by ID, and the ID was flight origin. I kind of remember these IDs now because we've been doing it for so long, right? So flight origin, and then we just sorry, some bad typing. Yeah, so we just need to return the element that we just found, right? That's it. So like that, we need to create all the methods for all the elements that we have. So let's start with, this is the origin text box. So the next one is return the flight destination text box. So let's call this destination text box, change the ID to destination. Yeah, I remember these now. And the next one is what? Departure date. So let's name it departure date text box, and the ID is, I think, flight departing. Return the element. Same thing here. Sorry, this is okay. Origin text box is return date text box, and this ID is flight returning. And then we need to find the search button, right? So this is a button, so change the name completely, search button, and the ID is search button. And then this is the way that we actually find the elements, right? Now we can create APIs to use these elements also. So let's create one API, public static, and this is gonna be void because it's not returning anything. We're just performing an action. So let's perform the action to click on the search button on search button. We'll pass in argument of our driver, and then element. We can use our this API to find the elements. So element is search button. So now we have the element inside this, and what we can do is element dot click. So all the methods are available here. So like that. Then we have one more to navigate to flights tab. So this is again also an action. So change it completely. Navigate to flights tab, and we need to find the element, driver dot find element by dot ID, and the ID was tab dash flight dash tab, I believe. So ID. Once we find the element, we just need to click it. And I think let's click on the history element also. So that's annoying because I know if you're now, you must be aware of this Expedia, right? So that scratchpad kind of opens up, right? So we need to click on that header history. So let's click on that also. Otherwise it's kind of pops up in between and blocks the view. So dot click. Right. Okay. I think more. Yeah. Okay. This is good enough. More parentheses. Okay. So this is our web page that's completed. Now what we're doing is we're just finding all the elements, returning the elements in from these methods, and we're performing the actions on the elements that we found. Here we are clicking on the search button. Here we are navigating to the flights tab. So let's use them in a test case now and see how it looks like. You will be really impressed. First thing we're doing is getting the base URL. Let's take a look at the test case now, how we do. So we imported the class from the package page classes search page. So just put that statement to import the class, and then we can use the methods as search page dot. First thing is we need to get the origin text box, right? So all the methods are available when you hit dot. So origin text box, put in driver, and then what action we need to perform? Send keys, and let's put maybe New York. Yeah. So did you guys see the difference? We're just doing search page dot origin text box and then send keys. We're not finding the elements here. And take a look at the code. It's very much readable, right? We'll show you at the end. So search page dot destination text box driver dot send keys, and I don't know, let's make it Chicago. So Chicago, and then search page dot departure date driver dot send keys, and okay, maybe let's go on Christmas, maybe. Yeah, okay, 12/25/2014, and search page dot return driver dot send keys, and maybe come back on before New Year 2014 because we want to see the New Year in New York, the Big Apple, and finally we want to click the search button, right? So we already, instead of getting the search button, we already have a function, right? Click on search button. So we'll just call click on search button, put in driver here, and it's gonna do our job. So if you take a look at the code, see how clean it looks. There's no other extra stuff, just the methods calling. And if you just read the methods, it's pretty easy to understand, right? What we are doing, we're just taking the element origin text box and passing the arguments that we want. So see, it's very easy to read, right? And instead of doing this send keys also, what we can do is let's add one more API. So once we find this origin text box, what we can do is make it void and maybe fill origin text box and use the origin text box to find the element, and then element dot send keys, and we need an input here, right? So let's take one more argument string origin, and let's put the argument here. So we have the argument. So what we are doing is we're just using the origin text box and to find the element and passing the argument origin to it. And in our test case, instead of calling this, let's make it more readable. So what we can do is fill origin text box driver, and then we can just pass in the values here. So New York. So now take a look at the code. So exercise for you guys, change these also, destination text box, departure date also. So you're not seeing any methods and keys here. You're just calling the methods that you just created in your search page class. That is your page object class, right? So you're just calling these methods. Now take a look at this, guys. This is really very impressive, very good to read, and really nice, right? So just let me run it, and I've just clicked the run button. You guys can download the code from the web. I'll upload it and just practice it, guys. Maybe I would say create more pages, and see, it's on this expedia.com, and it has typed in everything, right? So it has come there on the flights tab. It has already clicked on the search button, so it's searching right now. Okay, so all the actions are done right now, so we're not interested in the search results right now. So see, the test cases pass, and take a look at the code, how it looks, right? So pretty easy to understand, neat and clean, good to read, easy to maintain. So let's say if your locator changed and you have lot of test cases that are using that origin flight box, right? So now in your test code, you don't have to change anything, right? You just go to your search page class, change the locator here, and you're done. So that's what we call maintainable. Less duplicate code and easy to maintain. So I would suggest you guys just create couple of more classes. I'm calling the home page as search page. You pick some other page. So maybe from there just pick the hotels page, vacation package, or any other page. Try to create the page class for it, and then create a test code. So you'll get into some practice and use this code. for your reference, and practice as much as you can, guys. Thanks for attending. Stay tuned for the next tutorial. Thanks, guys.